Okay, here, Roseau versus Bemidji Peewee AA. As there's Freak, gives it up to Demuth. Picked off by Roseau. Demuth chips it out as Rider Stay tries to grab it. As Roseau is gonna bring it out from the right side. There's Ryerson to pick it up. Ryerson picked off in front. As there's Ryerson to collect it in the corner. Ryerson tries to give it to Demuth. As there's goes Rider Stay. Stay picked off. As there's Roseau. Left side shot saved by Alemano. So here comes James. The right side. Gives it to Willie. Willie. Fancy move. Missed the net. There's Brink. Tries to bring it back to the point to Calvin as he gets messed up there as there's Roseau. There's Brink. Gives it to Levi. Levi. The middle shot miss. As here's Brink. The right side. Goes to the middle. It's poke checked away by Roseau. Roseau up the right side. Roseau dumps it in. Picked up by James. James throws it over. There's Willie battling for it on the blue line. There goes Nick. Nick dumps it down as he gets a change. There goes Roseau. Roseau tries to give a pass up as that's going to be icing. Roseau wins the draw. They're going to bring it up. There's Easton trying to put it back into the zone. So here comes Roseau. Roseau just some passes. Couldn't get a shot on as they're behind the net. Just go up front off the post. There's Grant. Grant to Easton. Easton toe dragged around one. Tries to give it to Tegan. Tegan battling on it the right side. There's Conrad. Conrad. Over to Riker. Riker. Up to Stay. So here's Roseau, right side. So they're going to dump that in. They're going for a change. There's Baki. To Schaefer. Schaefer to Stay. Stay gets stick lifted as there's Baki bringing it behind his own net. Baki throws off one. There's Schaefer. Schaefer up to Brink. Brink couldn't get there in time as that will be icing. There's Brink. Wins it. They're going to throw it over to the left side. There's Levi. Levi goes to the middle. Shot! Just missed a little. There's Brink trying to get it as that's going to go out of the rink on Roseau. Here's Brink on the draw. Brink wins it back. It's Calvin. Calvin. Weak shot. Tried to go for the point or the tip there. So here comes Roseau. Breaking it out on the left side. There's Schaefer. Checks him out of the way. There's Brink trying to get it up as here comes Roseau on the right side. Shot saved by Alemano. Doesn't know where it is. There's trying to battle for it, to find it, and there it is! Roseau finds the puck and on the backhand shoots and scores. Roseau will go up 1-0. 5 minutes in. Here's Brink. Freak over to Baki. Schaefer. Tried to get it to Schaefer. So here comes Roseau on the left side. They bring it in. Saved by Alamano. There's no whistle there. So Alamano's going to shove one down in front. So here comes Levi. Trying to get that. Couldn't. As here comes Roseau. Up the middle. Offsides. On Roseau. As there's Demuth on the left side, as here's Roseau. Roseau shot, tipped off of one of Bemidji's players and out. Stay on the draw, loses. Roseau, point shot, tried to go for the tip as it ends up in the corner. Here's Baki. As there's Freak. Tried to get it to Easton, but couldn't. Here comes Roseau. Picked off by Stay. There's Grant. Hit as here comes Tegan trying to bring it into the zone. Here comes Roseau on the left side. They're going to throw it on. Saved by Alamano. Here's Brink on the draw. Brink's gonna win it over to James. James got picked off. Here comes Schaefer. Schaefer over to James. James bringing it up the middle. Gives it to Brink. Brink getting poked off. As Roseau's gonna dump it. That's going to be an icing on Roseau. Here's Brink on the draw. She's going to lose it. Willie. Drops it back to Calvin. Calvin. Giving it over to Schaefer. Schaefer. Drop that back to Brink. Brinks. Didn't get the puck. Here's Willie battling for it in the corner. Comes Roseau. Break out to the center. Keeps it on the right side. Shot into Calvin. Calvin. Battling for it on the right side. Up to Willie. Willie. Couldn't find his foot. As here comes Willie. Gets the puck back. Gives it to James. James tries to chip it off the wall. Roseau. The shot as Calvin's going to dump it in. That's going to be an icing on Bemidji. Grant Stay for the draw. Stay's gonna win it. It's Freak over to Ryder. Stay. Roseau funneling it out to the front. So to the point. Point shot. Locked off his own teammate. Here's Grant Stay. Over to Tegan. Tegan's gonna get picked off. Stay comes in to help him. There's a shot. So Roseau's gonna come bring it out up on the left side. Keeps it to the left side. Shot just missed. Comes Tegan. Tegan tries to get it out of the zone, couldn't. Roseau's gonna give it to the front. Dangerous play there. Comes Ryder Stay. Grant Stay back to Freak. Freak dumps it in. There's Willie behind the net battling for it. Roseau's gonna break it out on the left side. James. Over to Schaefer. Schaefer. Oh, tried to get the pass over to Levi. Couldn't. Roseau's gonna take the shot and it's gonna be offsides. Eichstadt on the draw loses. Roseau can take a weak shot. Here's Kelvin to pick it up behind the net. Tries to give it over to James, but couldn't. Here comes Schaefer up the right side. Schaefer passes over in front. What a save! James, weak shot. Here's Levi. Trying to go around, couldn't. Here comes Roseau up the right side. They're gonna get pressured. It's gonna go into the corner. James battling for it. Over to Levi. Levi up to Jordy. Jordy gonna dump it in for the change. Here comes Easton. Roseau's gonna get it up over the left side. Here comes Grant. Up the middle. Gonna take a bad shot. Just miss wide. Here's Easton. Trying to give it over to the side. Here comes Roseau. Here's Riker. Down to Baki. Lost his footing. As Grant comes to help. Here comes Ryder. Up the right side. Shot! Off one of Roseau's sticks and out. Here's Brink. Wins the draw over to Levi. Bad shot. Over on the left corner, Roseau's gonna get it out. High stick. Baki gives it over to Riker. Riker dumps it in for Levi to pick up. Couldn't pick it up. Here comes Roseau. 2-on-1. On the left side. Tries to go into the middle. Blocked off by Baki. Here comes Conrad. Conrad picked off by Roseau. Comes Sam out of his net to grab it. Here's Riker. Battling for it on the left wall. Here comes Brink. Tries to give it up right in the middle. Bad shot by Roseau. Roseau over to the middle. Baki's going to get that out for Brink. Brink up the right side. Or passes it out to the right side. Here comes Roseau. Up the middle. Baki's just going to get a good poke on there. Here's Roseau in the left corner. Comes Riker. He's going to chip it off. No icing. Here's Ryder. Pick it up. Over the right corner by Roseau. Ryder battling for it as here comes James. Toe drags around one. Comes to the middle. Shot. Hit off the goalie's pads. Here comes Tegan and James. James. Over to Kelvin. Kelvin coming up the middle. Gonna try to stick it all around some people. As Tegan's gonna lose the puck behind Roseau's net. There's Kelvin to bank it off the wall to himself. He's gonna fall over. Here's Jordy. Jordy missed the shot to put it in. As here comes James to collect it. James up the right side. And toe drag. Couldn't get a good shot. Here's Roseau up the right side. We're gonna try to make the long pass. Stick down by Schaefer. Schaefer tries to get it to someone but block. Here comes Riker. Riker exploring his options. Over to James. James gonna dump it over to Levi. Levi picked off on the right side. Here comes Jordy. Jordy up the right side. He's gonna try to go through someone. Can't. Here comes Jordy. Jordy down to Nick. Nick back to Jordy. Jordy's gonna lose that puck. Here comes Roseau on the right side for Riker to pick up. He's gonna dump it to no one. As Riker's coming to pick it up behind the net as he's battling for it against Roseau. Roseau's gonna give it back to the point. They come out to explore. Here comes Roseau up the left side. Shot in from the point. Saved by Alamano. Here comes Tegan up the right side. Shoot it in. Here's Easton down in the right corner. Checked off by Roseau. Grant battling for it in the corner. Here's James. James gonna try to get it to Stay. Stay comes with it. Here comes Stay up the middle. Stay's gonna keep with it as there's the penalty. Penalty on Roseau, number 7. Number 7. 2 minutes for hooking. 2:56 left in the first period. The draw by Brink. Brink's gonna win it. Here comes Roseau trying to get it out. Here's James on the right side. There goes Willie. Willie over to Brink. Ooh, Brink couldn't get the shot off in time, as that is going to be an icing on Roseau. Draw down. Here comes Willie down in the right corner. Willie is going to give it to Brink. Brink. James. Here's Nick. Back to James. James. Shot right off the skate of Roseau's goalie. Here's Nick. Over. Score! Levi from Brink to put one in as they get it tied up 1-1 on the power play. Brink on the draw. There goes Jordy. Jordy. Shot in the goal! Jordy Schaefer. Beautiful one there. He finds where the goalie isn't, as Jordy Schaefer will put one in the back of the net to go up 2-1 with 2 minutes and 10 seconds left in the first period. Here's Brink on the draw. Here's Willie, right side. He's gonna move in. Got picked off. Here's Willie to Nick. Trying to give it back to the point. Here's Nick to Willie. Bad shot. Here comes Nick. Nick in the left corner. Jordy. Riker. Shot. Ooh, Willie could have had one there. Here's Roseau breaking it out on the left side. 2-on-2. Roseau on the left side. Baki goes in there to battle. Shot on. Here comes Riker behind his own net. As Roseau's gonna come out. So here comes Jordy. 1-on-1. Here's Baki. He's gonna try to give it to someone right out in front. Grant is just right there. Here's Roseau breaking it out on the left side. There's Riker. Conrad. And give it to Ryder. Up the right side. It's gonna go down. Here's Roseau collecting it behind their own net. Going up the right side. Kelvin. Roseau's gonna pick it off in front. 2-on-1. Shot blocked off of James' stick. Here's James up the right side. James. Bad shot. 20 seconds left. Here's Grant. Battling in the corner. Ooh, takes a hit there. Here's Roseau on the left side. We're gonna give it over to the right side. So we're gonna dump it down with 2 seconds. As here's James gonna give it up, and that will be it for the first period. As Bemidji is winning 2-1 against Roseau. We'll be back after the Zamboni. No Zamboni break here. Behind schedule here. There's going to be no Zamboni here. Just going to do the short break. Here's Bemidji starting for the second period. We got Willie on the left wing. Oh wait, nope. We have Easton on the left wing. Tegan in the middle. As Ryder stays going to be on the right side. Left side for defense is Riker. And for the right side is Conrad. Here's the draw to start our second. Roseau's going to win it. We're going to bring it up the middle. Switch it over to the right. Into the corner. Roseau's going to give it out in front. There's Tegan. Up to Easton. There's Roseau up to the point. He's gonna dump it down. There's Conrad in on the right corner. You're saved by Alemano. Roseau took that shot. They did not have a chance at scoring there. Face off on the left side of Alemano. Brink's gonna take it. He's gonna lose it. Roseau, right side. There's Willie trying to get it. Can't. Willie trying to battle for it. Brink. Push some kids out of there. Comes Levi. Levi tries to get it on the right side. Here comes Nick. Nick, a little spin. Comes Calvin. Calvin's gonna dump it down. No ice. Roseau behind their net. Here's James pick it up on the right side. Here's Willie with the shot out in front. As here's Levi just gonna bring it around the net and score. Levi from Willie. As Bemidji goes up 3-1. Bemidji's gonna win the draw. Here's Calvin. Calvin up the left side to Willie. Willie. Give and go for Brink. Levi missed the net on that shot. Here's Nick. Battling for it in the left corner. Here's Levi trying to bring it in the middle. Here's Calvin. Bad shot on. Oh! Right for Easton to put it in. Here's Levi. Levi down to Easton. Easton. Battling in the corner. Roseau's going to come out with it. Behind their net. They're going to chip it off the boards. Bring it up the right side. Here's Calvin. Calvin trying to give it to Grant. Here comes James. James up the right side. He's going to cut it in the middle. Shot off of Roseau's stick. Here's Grant. The right side. Roseau's going to come out with it. Here's Riker. Riker. Bad shot on. Roseau in their corner. Here's Riker. Riker. Riker bringing it over to the middle as here comes Roseau. Saved by Alemano. What a save by Sam Alemano on the breakaway. Face off left side of Alemano. Bemidji's gonna lose, but it's going in the left corner. Here comes Tegan. Just got hit there. It's out. It's gonna be out in center ice for the face-off. Nick on the draw. Loses. Here's Roseau. Roseau on the right side. She's gonna bring it up the middle. Levi. Shot and a goal! Levi pops the water bottle off. What a goal to make Bemidji go up 4-1. Nick on the draw. Nick's gonna drop it back. Here's James. James. Over to Calvin. Calvin. Give it to Nick. Nick. Up the middle. Tries to do a toe drag. Couldn't. Here comes Roseau bringing it up the left side. Here's Calvin. Calvin. Spin it over to James. James. Going up the right side. James down in Roseau's left corner. James over to Levi. Levi gives it right to Brink for an empty net as he misses. Here's Easton. Gives it back for Ryder. Ryder tries to get it as here comes Roseau up the right side. Roseau, weak shot on net. Sam's gonna let that go. Roseau out in front. Backhand. Stopped by Alamano. Comes Nick. Nick trying to get it off. Here comes Calvin. Calvin tripped up in his own skates on the left boards. Here comes Easton fighting for it. Here's Calvin. Calvin over to Grant. Grant skating. Here's Grant. Gonna bring it up top of the right circle. Shot! Just off Roseau's goalie's blocker. Here's Roseau. Gonna chip it out. Here comes Conrad. Conrad boards it over to Grant. Grant. Grant still has it on the right wall. Tries to get it to Easton. Can't. Here's Easton in the corner. Easton. Down to Grant. Grant. Gonna get checked over in the right corner. Here comes. Here's Grant. Brings it out as here comes Jordy. Jordy shot just off Roseau's goalie's pads as here comes Roseau up the left side. Roseau trying to get the shot off. Can't. Comes Riker. Riker chips it over. So here's Willie. Willie over to Grant. Grant, weak shot on net for the change as here comes Jordy, left corner. Roseau's gonna come out with it. Roseau up the left side. There's gonna be no icing. Riker behind the net. Riker's gonna chip it off. Here comes Willie. Willie gives it to Jordy. Jordy, the right side. Trying to look for someone in the middle. Here's Calvin with the shot. Ooh, into Roseau's glove. .10:40 left in the second period. Here's Teagan for the draw. He's gonna lose. Here's Roseau on the right side. Calvin, shot in. Teagan shoots it right into Roseau's goalie. Face off right side of Roseau's goalie. Win. Calvin. James. James. One timer just missed wide. Here's Teagan. Shot. Teagan with another shot. Can't find it as here comes James up on the right point. It's to Ryder. Ryder over to Teagan. Teagan missed the wide. Misses the net. Here's Calvin. Gonna try to grab it. Teagan's gonna take a bad shot into the corner. Here's Ryder. Ryder. The right corner. Here's Teagan looking. Here comes Calvin. It goes over his stick as Roseau. 2-on-1. Roseau shot off the blocker of Alamano. Here's Teagan in the corner. Roseau behind Bemidji's net as they're going to lose it as Roseau. D to D. It's going to get picked off by Easton. Roseau behind their net. Trying to go up the middle. They're going to sidestep over. Roseau on the left side. Bad shot in. Here comes Levi. Levi to Willie. Willie tripped up there. Here comes Levi. 2-on-2. Levi trying to go around. He's going to give that to Jordy in front. Jordy. He's going to give it right to Roseau's. Roseau up the right side. Jordy's going to come Back check and grab it. Here comes Levi. Levi. Oh, he doesn't have it. Kelvin shot in as that's going to be offside. Offside's going to be in the middle. Grant Stay's going to do the face-off here. Stay ties it up. Here's Easton. Easton up the left side. He's going to bring it behind his back. He's going to get picked off by Roseau. Roseau on the right side. He's just going to dump it in. Conrad. Back. Here's Riker. Riker gives it up. Corner. Here's Roseau behind Bemidji's net. Comes Grant. Grant! Up to Easton. Couldn't get it. Roseau's going to pick him off. So here comes Roseau as that's going to be offsides. Here's Grant for Bemidji taking draw. So he's going to lose it. Roseau goes up the right side. Stay's going to poke it away. So it's going to go down. James gets it over. Here's Easton. Going to get checked a little bit. Roseau. Shot from the point out front. Saved by Alamano. Here's Roseau behind the net. Checked off by James. So they're going to give it up in front. Here comes James for a breakout. 3-on-2. Here's Easton. Easton's going to bring it into the zone. It's going to be poked out of the zone as it's going to be offsides. .7:11 left in the second period. Draw one by Brink. Baki's going to slap it down. Here's Roseau behind their net. Roseau's going to give it out. There's Brink. Slap it. Here's Levi. Left corner. Levi's going to dump it down for Willie to pick up. Willie down in the corner. Here's Brink comes to pick it up. Riker. Shot. Tip. No. Here comes Roseau up the left side. So they're going to try to pass it over in front. Can't. It's Riker. Riker. Gives it up in front. Shot. Miss. Here's Levi. Levi and Nick fighting for it in the corner. Here's Conrad. Trying to give it to Levi. Roseau's gonna pick him off. Roseau left side. They're gonna dump it down. Here's Baki. Baki's gonna give it over to Brink. Brink. Checked off. Here's Roseau behind the net. Roseau tries to give it to the point as Willie's right out there. Picked him off. As here's Nick. Nick behind his own net. Roseau behind. Roseau in the left corner. They're going to give it to the point. Shot. Stick it down. There's Conrad coming up. Going to the right side. Try to cut in with the shot off the pad. There's Kelvin to grab it. Kelvin. Stick handling. He's going to ice it. Icing call right side of Sam Alamano. Grant getting tied up in front. Here's Ryder, gives it. Oh, Roseau with the shot. Saved by Alamano. Face-off's going to be right side of Sam. Grant ties it up again. There's Ryder trying. Ryder comes out with it. He's going to give it over to Tegan. Tegan falls on his own leg. James going to pick it up behind his net. It's Kelvin. Over in the corner battling. Here's Grant behind his own net. Chip it back. There's Ryder. Comes Grant. That was high, but here's James. James behind his own net. Gonna toe drag around one. To 4-on-2. Here's James on the right side. Cutting in. Can't. Here's Levi gonna get stick lifted out as here's James. James. This is gonna be a penalty on Roseau. I think for hooking. Number 3 for Roseau. 2 minutes for hooking. 4 minutes left in the second period. It's going to be on the right side, or left side of Roseau's goalie. Brink for the draw. Brink's going to win it over to Jordy. Jordy gives it back to the point. Bad shot. Here's Jordy. Jordy. Oh, I tried to give it down. Levi can't. Here's Nick. Nick. Riker. Riker tried to give it back to Nick. Couldn't. Here's Levi. Exploring. Gonna give it to Riker at the point. Riker. Shot. Here's. Oh. Here's Conrad at the point. Here's Levi. Levi. Weak shot in. Here comes Nick. Around one. Jordy. Oh, open net. Couldn't find it. Here's Nick out in front. Got picked off by Roseau. Roseau gonna dump it down. Should be icing. That will be icing. 3:08 left in the second period. Will be face off right side of Roseau's goalie. Here's Grant on the draw, gonna win it. Win it. Here's Calvin. Over to James. James. Down to Easton. Easton. Gives it to Grant. Grant. Gonna give it to James. James. Shot in the goal! And a hard wrist shot from the top of the circle. James is gonna score on the power play to go up 5-1 with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in the second period. Here's Grant on the draw. Grant's going to tie it up again. So there's going to be a penalty called on Roseau. Think. Oh no. On Bemidji for interference. Riders stay 2 minutes for interference with 2 minutes and 46 seconds left in the second, as the draw is going to be left side of Alamano. Grant's going to take the draw. Roseau win it. Point off Grant's shins. So here comes Easton. Loses it at the point. There goes Easton. Easton up the right side. He's going to take it. He's going to get bumped off. Here's Roseau behind their own net. Over to the right side. There's Calvin. Going to dump it in. There's Grant for pressure. Roseau on the left side. I'm going to try to get it up the right side. Can't. Roseau back in the left corner. Roseau's gonna give it over to the right. Roseau up. Here comes Roseau to the middle. Shot. Right into the stomach of Sam. Here's Brink for the draw. He's gonna win it back. Here's Baki. Baki tried to go get it as here's Roseau behind the net. Sam's not gonna cover it as here's Nick. Nick in the left corner got tripped up. Here comes Willie. Willie up the right side. Minute 30 left. Here's Willie, right side. Oh, tries to give it to Brink as they're going to get poked away. Here's Roseau, up the left side. Roseau. Shot. Saved by Alamano. What a save by Alamano. Oh, God. Roseau had 3 great shots there, all blocked by Alamano. Here's Brink. He's going to lose it as Roseau is going to come to collect. 1 minute left. Here's Conrad. Conrad getting picked off. Here's Roseau on the right side. They're going to bring it in. Riker. Going to chip it off. Tries to give it to Easton. Here's Riker in the corner. Riker to Easton. Easton gives it over to Ryder at full strength. Here goes Ryder on the right side. Ryder's going to bring it into the corner. So here comes Roseau on the left side. Brings it over to the right. Roseau on the right side. Going to skate it in. Bad shot on net. Omar doesn't know where it is. It's behind the net. Here's James. To Easton. Easton. He's going to bring it over to Ryder. 4 seconds left. Ryder's going to bring it in the zone. As that shall do it for the second period. As Bemidji is up 5-1. No Zamboni in the second intermission. Here we are after the second intermission. Bemidji's going to start with Easton on the left, Tegan in the middle, and Ryder on the right side. Here's Baki, collected behind his net. Gonna give it. He's still behind his net. Can bring it over to the right side. There goes Easton. Easton tried to get rid of Ryder. Picked off by Roseau. Here comes Riker. Riker up the left side. He's gonna get picked off. Here comes Ryder. Ryder over on the right side. Weak shot in. Here's Tegan. Tegan's gonna get bumped off. Here's Levi's gonna get tripped up, and that'll be a penalty for Roseau. Number 12, I think. Yep, it's gonna be number 12. 2 minutes for tripping. 44 seconds in. Nick on the draw. Drop it. Roseau's gonna win it. Nick gives it to Levi. Levi. Bad shot on net. Here's Roseau. Right corner. Gonna chip it off the boards. Calvin also chips it off the board to Brink. Nick. Gonna go through 1, 2. He's gonna get poked off. Here's Calvin at the point. It's gonna get deflected off of one of Roseau's sticks. Here's Brink. Give it to James. James back to Brink. Who, as he gets picked off. Here's Roseau up the left side. 2 on 2. They're gonna slap it down. Here comes Levi. Levi tries to give it to James. Can't. Levi's gonna lose his stick, and that's gonna be a penalty for slashing. Here comes James, left side. He's gonna drop it back. Roseau's gonna touch it. That's gonna be a 2 minutes for slashing. Bemidji will go 5 on 3 for 47 seconds. Bemidji on 3 on 5. We have Tegan on the left side, Grant in the middle, and then Easton on the right side. On defense, left side we have Baki and then Riker on the right. Grant's gonna win it. Tegan to the point. Riker. Easton. Don't know. Riker. Conrad. Conrad's gonna bring it in. Shot. Tip. Oh, off the side of the net. Here's Tegan. Tegan to Easton. Easton. Give that. Riker. Riker. Weak shot and scores! Easton to Muth on the tip, and the Lumberjacks will also stay on the power play. Bemidji scores to go up 6-1 against Roseau. 3 minutes and 30 seconds in. Bemidji is winning. Shot in, beautiful tip by Easton Demuth. As Roseau's coach is talking to the refs here. I don't know what that's about. Here comes Grant. Stay. Grant is going to try to give it back. Here's Tegan. Tegan to Easton. Easton picked off. Here's Easton. Over to Grant. Grant on the right board. Grant drops it back for James. James shot. Right here, Roseau's goal. This goal. Easton Demuth. Garbage goal off of James' shot. Easton Demuth from James. What a goal. Running time here as Bemidji goes up 7-1. Goal was on the power play. So here comes Roseau, winning the draw in the left corner. Roseau tried to break Tegan's ankles. Tegan Gonna dump it in for Easton. Easton battling in the corner. He's gonna get tripped up. It's Tegan. It's James. James to Easton. Easton gonna backhand it out right in front as Roseau's gonna pick it off. There goes Roseau. Here's Jordy down behind his net. Gonna chip it off to James. James gonna try to get it out. Can't. Here comes Roseau on the left side. Weak shot. Here's James. Oh, thought James had it there, as here's Kelvin in the left corner. Has it. He's trying to get picked off there by Roseau. Here's Kelvin. He hooked up there. Just gonna push him over. Here's James. Over to Kelvin. Kelvin can't get a hold on that. Here's Levi pushing some kids over. Here's Grant. Grant. He's gonna give and go to Jordy. Here comes Jordy on the right side. Oh, Jordy behind Roseau's net. Jordy. Levi. In the corner. So here comes Roseau on the right side. Here's Levi. Second lean over to the right. Brings it in the middle. Shot just missed wide. Here's Nick. Nick. Point for Riker. Riker to Nick. Nick shot off. Hit in front for Roseau. Here comes Conrad. Conrad. Boards it off to Brink. Roseau's gonna pick him off. Here's Roseau. Shot. Just missed wide. Here comes Roseau on the left side. It's Nick. Gives it to Conrad. Conrad to Jordy. Jordy tried to get out. Here comes Nick. Gives it to Jordy. Jordy up the right side. He's gonna skate it. Toe dragger on one. Shot just missed. He got tripped up there. Here's Roseau behind the net. Oh, Roseau goes through Grant. She's going to get picked off, and that's going to be offsides. We have an equipment issue with Sam Alamano, Bemidji's goalie. Something to do with his pad. Take a little break here. Here's the offside draw. Grant takes it. Here's Roseau in the corner. Roseau. Give it over to the left side. Here comes Roseau on the left. Gonna take a shot. Blocked by James. Here's Roseau in the front. Oh! Just shoves it in there. As Roseau puts 2 on the board. Faced off at center ice. Grant gonna give it a Ryder. Oh, here comes Roseau in the middle. Roseau on the left side. They're trying to give it over the middle. Can't. Here's Roseau's point coming in. Here's Roseau over to the side. Missed wide. Here's Roseau bringing it in. There's Grant. Grant tangled up with Roseau. Roseau behind the net. Roseau tried to get the pass off. Can't. Here's Roseau with the point shot. What a save by Sam. No one knows where it is. Roseau's trying to bring it. Here comes Bemidji up the left side. Tegan. Tegan's gonna dump it. 9:20 left to go in the third. Roseau. Give it up in the middle. Willie. Gives it to Brink. Brink. Tries to toe drag around. Can't. Roseau having trouble changing. There's 3 people on one. Here's Roseau. Over the left side. Here comes Jordy. Getting tripped up. No call there. Here's Roseau. Nick. Comes. Poked off. Nick. Trying to be tangled up. Jordy. To Nick. Nick. Plays it over to Willie on his backhand though. Willie's gonna get checked down. Nick. Roseau's gonna rim it on the boards. Offsides on Bemidji. Here's Bemidji. Losing draw. It's going to be boards as here's Calvin to grab it behind the net. Turn. Comes Ryder. Ryder tries to pass it over to Easton. Easton dumps it down. Ryder tangled up. Here's Ryder coming out of the middle, shot over the net. Here's Roseau on the right side. So we're going to give it up. Roseau. Over to the left side, can't get there. Here's James. James is going to take it. Toe drags around one. James chips it up to Easton. Easton. Down the right side. Here's Roseau. Trying to chip it out. Here's Jordy. Jordy. Give it to Grant as Grant's going to trip him. Grant will go to the box. 2 minutes for tripping.
Shout out to Scott.
Face off right side of Sam. Jordy taking the draw. Jordy's gonna grab it. He's gonna go up the right side. He's taking it. Gives it to Willie. Willie's gotta get there. Willie. Trying to find someone. Here's Roseau in their own zone on the power play. Roseau chips it out and that's gonna be out. It's going to be face off right side of Roseau's goalie. Levi to take the draw short-handed. Here comes Roseau. And that's going to be offsides on Bemidji. Levi taking the draw. Levi's going to win it. There's Conrad. Brings it up the right side. There goes Levi. Levi. Toe drags around one. Oh, just whipped school. Shoots a muffin of a shot in the net on the penalty kill. Bemidji goes up 8-2. Bad shot there by Levi. Whiffed on the first try and then muffin to go in. Levi wins the draw. Here's James. He's gonna slap it down over to Tegan. Here's Roseau. Roseau. Gonna get bumped off. Here comes Roseau, gonna take the shot. Here comes James. James up the right side. He's gonna wheel. Poked off by Roseau. Roseau on the power play. Left shot. Saved by Sam. It's gonna be a face-off right side of Alamano. Face-off taken by Ryder. As Bemidji's gonna go back to full strength. Bemidji's gonna lose the draw. Here's Roseau. Shot, can't. Here's Roseau into the corner. And get bumped off by Riker. Here's Ryder. Goes up. Ryder to Grant. Grant! Try shot. Saved by Roseau's goalie. As Ryder's gonna pushing and shoving in front of the net. .430 left as Bemidji's up 8-2. Here's Grant on the draw. Grant loses. Roseau on the right side. Tip it over. Here's Ryder battling for it. Here comes Roseau. Over to the left side. Roseau's going to bring it up. Here comes Grant. Grant. Gonna get picked off at the point, but still has it. Here's Grant. Grant coming in the middle. Backhand. Ooh, off the post. Here's Roseau on the right side. Here's Levi's gonna grab it. Going over to the right side. Weak shot. Here's Easton. Easton. Back to Conrad. Conrad. Do a little spin. Gonna give it. Oh, as Roseau's gonna get called for a penalty here. Here's Levi. Roseau's gonna get called for a penalty. 2 minutes for. I don't know what it is. I think it's checking. 2 minutes for interference in front of the net. 3 minutes left of running time. Brink for the face-off. He's gonna win it. He's gonna grab it. Behind the net. Brink to the point. He's gonna Brink. Zone. Gives it to Willie. Willie. Bring it up. Left side. As Roseau's gonna pick him off. Comes Nick. Nick. Right side. Shot! Goal! James scores on the power play. Bemidji goes up 9-2. Should be a hat trick for James. Here's Nick on the draw. 2 minutes left. Nick's gonna win it. Here's Levi. Drop it back for Conrad. Conrad thought Levi was still there. Roseau's gonna give it up, and here comes Nick. A little check there. Roseau in the corner. Roseau tried to get it out front. Here comes Levi. Levi up the right side. He's gonna give it to Nick. Levi tries to go. Here goes Levi. On the left side. He's gonna get checked down. Riker's gonna slap it in. Here's Roseau. Tried to give it to the right guy. And that's gonna be icing on Roseau. 1 minute, 15 seconds left to go. Face off right side of Roseau's goalie with a minute left to go. Face off taken by Tegan. Tegan loses, but he's going to grab it back. Gives it to Ryder. James. He's going to stick handle with it. He's going to do a little spin. Give it to Ryder. Ryder. Up the right side. Going to give it. Easton can't. Gets shot off blocked. Tegan. Weak shot in. Shot by Ryder. Right off the chest. Here's Roseau on the right side. Pass it up. Here's Kelvin. Kelvin gives it to no one. 10 seconds left. Roseau on the left side. They're going to pass it up. Getting 5 seconds. It's Kelvin. Chip it off the wall, the brink. And that will do it. As Bemidji wins 9-2. A final score.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the PQ Sports Network.